February 6th marks the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. The United Nations say FGM, or female genital cutting, comprises all procedures that involve altering or harming the female genitalia for non-medical reasons. FGM causes severe bleeding and health issues, including cysts, infertility, as well as complications in childbirth. It is recognized internationally as a violation of the human rights of women and girls. And according to the United Nations, worldwide, at least 200 million women and girls alive today have undergone some form of FGM. It is known to be prevalent in nearly 30 African countries and in Yemen, Iraqi Kurdistan, and Indonesia. It has been banned in most African countries affected by the practice, but enforcement of the law is usually weak. FGM is mostly carried out on young girls between infancy and age 15. Now joining us live via Skype from Alicante, Spain, is best-selling and award-winning author Lucinda E. Clarke, author of the suspenseful literary fiction Amie Cat for Life. Ms. Clarke, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So today is the day to commemorate, well, to really advocate against the practice of FGM. How significant is this day to your work as an advocate?
Very, very important, because I wasn't aware of it myself for a long time, even though I've lived in Africa for over 30 years. And when I started writing my books after retirement, I set them all in Africa. They tell you to write what you know. And I learned from feedback I got from readers that a lot of things about Africa and African ways of life and cultures and traditions, they had no idea about at all. So when I came across FGM, I desperately wanted to share that with as many people as possible and raise awareness, because the facts, the statistics, shocked me.
And then you do that in the book Amie Cat for Life. Can you briefly tell us the plot of the story?
Well, Amie's my character that I've taken out of her cozy home in England, and I've set her into a mythical country in Africa, which is like conglomeration, if you like, of Kenya, Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe. I've lived in all of those, and I put her through all kinds of problems and so on and so forth. But in this particular book, she runs into 4 young children that have been sent from England to be cut. It's illegal in most countries, and in order to avoid prosecution, it's becoming quite common now for parents to send their children back to their country of origin, original origin, to be cut. And she runs into these 4 girls and she attempts to rescue them.
So how much impact have you seen, or do you see the international community's advocacy and awareness having on this particular issue?
I think it's minimal, to be honest. I mean, this is the first recorded things of FGM were, in fact, in the time of the pharaohs, so it's nothing new, and it's nothing religious either. Since 1970s, major players like World Health Organization, UNICEF, and so on have actually been saying we must stop this practice. But today, over 40 years later, in 25 states in America, it's not a felony.
And Ms. Clarke, before we finish, female genital cutting is said to be a way to prepare young women for marriage. So there is a role that men have in this big picture. What do you think men can do to be part of the solution?
I can only suggest that they join the women like they have in the past to advocate for getting the vote, for the right to become doctors, dentists, teachers, for equal pay, basically to recognize women as people. We're the other half of the whole human race. And one of the awful things about FGM with young children in Africa is that they drop out of school. And there's such a wastage of talent that could, in fact, help the whole of Africa to raise the standard of living for everyone. But we need the men on board because they are the guys in charge and they are the lawmakers.
And quickly, again, it's not practiced in every country. It's just some countries and some cultures that practice it. What do you tell those people who say, this is very much part of our culture and we need to respect it? Quickly, what do you tell them?
It's a culture that doesn't help them in the long term. It wastes the ability of the women to improve lives for everyone. It causes so much trauma to women, and it can cause childbirth, it can cause death, it can cause low self-esteem. It's basically a very cruel practice, and there's no real necessity for it.
Lucinda Clarke, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And that was Lucinda Clarke. She is the author of the suspenseful literary fiction, Amie, Cat for Life. And that's our health report for today. To stay in touch, find me on Twitter at Linord Moudou.